The high-altitude observatory, Aetheria Prime, normally gifted Eris Thorne a symphony of silent, star-dusted clarity. Tonight the silence felt less like solace and more like a held breath. A subtle, almost imperceptible wrongness seeped in, chilling him despite the dome's regulated warmth. The air, usually crisp and antiseptic, carried a faint metallic tang, like distant lightning hitting a forgotten conduit, tinged with something unidentifiably organic. Outside, familiar constellations had shifted by an almost comical hair's breadth, their usual brilliance edged in a shimmering violet fringe that refused to obey atmospheric physics. He rubbed his eyes, blamed fatigue, the long vigil, the ceaseless hum of instruments. Still, the sense of being off-kilter lodged in his gut and would not be eased. Precision devices, once punctual as clockwork, began to misbehave, their delicate needles twitching like nervous fingers. The spectrograph, his old companion humming data for decades, emitted a low, discordant thrum. Deep space comm channels bled sporadic bursts of impossible static, not mere randomness but knotted, intricate patterns that hinted at syntax and cadence, a language revealed only to the edges of comprehension, like a ghost whispering through a sealed door. He chased phantom errors for hours, days even, tracing wiring, reflowing solder, consulting calibration logs and redundant sensors. Every test returned nominal. The anomaly remained, a burr under the saddle of scientific certainty. Star charts that had once been comforting now looked like runes penned by an alien hand. Eris, a man ordinarily anchored by method and routine, felt the fine seams of sanity fraying. Sleep, once restful, became an ordeal of hot recurring dreams, vast, undulating geometries folding upon themselves with a nauseating fluidity, accompanied by a soundless, all-consuming presence that crowded out thought. His attention thinned, his thinking a knotted skein. Shadows stretched and wriggled, the observatory's walls appearing to inhale and exhale in an unseen rhythm. He recoiled at his reflection in dark glass, convinced for a heartbeat that strangers' eyes stared back, wide with unholy knowledge. Paranoia coiled around his chest like a living thing. He wondered if isolation had finally become company. Driven by a desperate, almost primal need for explanation, he isolated the source. Not a stellar nursery, not a rogue black hole, but a jagged tear in spacetime, where a distant nebula's faint glow should lie. It pulsed, a monstrous wound bleeding not photons but cascades of impossible colors that seared the retina and warped perception's very scaffolding. From its fathomless depths slithered tendrils of alien, insoluble logic that insinuated themselves into the observatory circuitry and, more terrifyingly, into the porous canvas of his mind. A consciousness vast beyond his capacity to measure unspooled its reality within the narrow corridors of his skull, remapping atoms and memory. It did not seek to converse, it simply was, and by the force of its indescribable existence it swallowed comprehension whole. The silence thickened, resonant and absolute, charged with the terrible, inexorable knowledge of something wholly other.